Yeah, and the advancements of understanding our mental health, what makes people happy, what's going to keep people from deteriorating faster in their older age, taking the finances out of it, just having a partner or a group of friends or a social circle that you can be around on a regular basis, it plays a huge role in how happy you are and how, in the end, and how long you can live and, how much fulfillment you can get out of your life. We have a family last year who was moving to a living facility, an assisted living facility out of state to be closer to her sister. Well, then COVID hits. And a part of COVID, one of the tragedies that, we're going to look back on, I think, for many, many years and talk about and hopefully never do again is the isolation that we caused to a lot of our people that were living in assisted living facilities to keep them safe for their physical health, but just the impact that it had on their mental health. Luckily, her son was able to take her to a facility and get her out of there to a facility that's closer to where he lived. And I just actually spoke with him recently, and she's doing much, much better because she's actually being a lot more social. All of that to say, I think people generally, that's kind of why they kind of want to maybe cohabitate with another person, whether they're married or not. It's just to make sure that they have some kind of a social life that's going on where they're having conversation, they're spending time with other people than just themselves. But there are financial benefits to that as well. Joe, you hinted at the tax return. A lot of our younger families, I bring this up a lot. We had a family where he was telling me, I'm thinking about proposing to my girlfriend. And I said, well, when are you thinking?
That's my boy.
That's my boy. He's thinking I'm being all romantic, like, where are you gonna propose at? Like, tell me the situation. All I'm thinking about is, are you gonna be married within this calendar year?
December 31st, baby.
Because we can save you a lot in taxes this year. So the tax, the way it's currently structured, the tax code does benefit if you are a married person compared to a single filer. Married filing jointly, the amount of AGI or adjusted gross income you can have every year and be taxed at a certain rate is much better. It's almost half for most of it. It's not the entire way, but pretty much you can make twice as much and be taxed half as much as what you would from being married to
So there's
a
a lot
filer.
So years before you ever got into this industry, there used to be what they called the marriage penalty. Mm-hmm. And it was really the other way around. And the IRS had worked very, very diligently to fix that. Truth be told, if you have two people who have equal income, it's not that advantageous or disadvantageous. But when you have income disparity,
yep,
right, or any of those issues that are going on, it makes all the sense in the world. I have joked with people that I know that are single and said, listen, you need to find somebody that a marriage of convenience, they don't even need to live with you.
Yeah.
Right. This is just being silly.
It comes down to how much do you dislike the IRS? And so at that point, it's, a lot of people it does sound silly, but in the end, we've said many times, taxes can be can deteriorate your retirement assets faster than almost anything.
I've made mistakes on this. You talk without a script for 22 years, you're going to say some bloopers,
sure,
right? And I have said that I hate the IRS publicly, and I've retracted that as many times as I can. I will do it again today. I do not hate them. They serve a very viable purpose inside of what's going on inside of our country, mm-hmm. and we do need bridges and roads, and we do need military, and we do need teachers. And
absolutely.
So, this is not, we don't write this as a way to evade taxation. And those of you who know the families that we serve, we have a program called the Better Giver. Many of our families are very charitably inclined. I am. We give away a lot of places to help people that are in need where we can direct money. My viewpoint has always been there's two tax codes. There's one for the informed and one for the uninformed. And I will never let my team take you into the gray or black areas. You just don't need to go there. But when I can look at your tax return and I can see that you're giving money away over here, or that you're not optimizing your own return based on the code that they have written, then I find that to be a mistake. And
absolutely.
So, what I try to do is to try to find operational efficiency at the Financial Enhancement Group.